This is The Polymorphism of Chocolate by the Tenafly High School A Team by Ananya Anchlia, Caitlin Liu, and Olivia Park. To begin, let's explore the 6 polymorphs of chocolate. The first one is Form 1, gamma crystals. Gamma crystals are formed when the chocolate is cooled very rapidly, usually through shock freezing. These crystalline structures melt when they're touched and form chocolate that has a dull appearance and significant bloom. Bloom is a whitish film that appears on the surface of chocolate. It's usually separated fats. This type of chocolate is flexible and it doesn't really snap when it's bent. Instead, it crumbles and has a rather soft structure. Next, Form 2 or alpha crystals are also formed by quickly freezing chocolate, though not as quickly as gamma crystals. They have a slightly higher melting point than Form 1 and can be formed by freezing Form 1 crystals. Similar to Form 1, it melts when it's touched and becomes crumbly when it's broken, rather than snapping. It also retains a soft texture. However, it tends to exhibit less bloom than Form 1. Next, Form 3 or beta 2 crystals form when Form 2 crystals are stored at a cool but not freezing temperature, about 41 to 50 degrees Fahrenheit. These crystals also melt when they are touched and may exhibit some bloom, though less than Form 1 or 2. This chocolate is far more firm than Form 1 or 2. However, it still doesn't exhibit that classic chocolate snap, and instead just folds and tears when bent. Form 4 is beta prime crystals. These crystals are formed by allowing melted chocolate to complete the cooling process at room temperature. These can also be formed by storing type 3 crystals at room temperature. This chocolate melts in your mouth but is still a bit dull, sometimes exhibiting a slight bloom. It is, however, hard enough to snap when bent. Form 5 beta crystals are the ideal crystalline structure that chocolate companies and artisans seek to achieve. Not only is it exceptionally stable, but it melts at 93 degrees Fahrenheit, leaving a rich texture in the mouth but not melting when it comes in contact with your skin. It has a beautiful appearance with no bloom and a glossy surface. It is firm and makes a distinctive snap when bent. It can be made by taking Form 1, 2, or 3 crystals and warming them up to 93 degrees but not more, and leaving them to cool at room temperature. Finally, Form 6, super beta crystals, cannot be made directly from melted chocolate. Instead, they are formed from tempered chocolate that is stored at room temperature for at least 16 weeks. They do not melt easily and have a chalky appearance and may have some bloom. Now let's get right into the experiment and explore our materials. For this experiment, we will need a thermometer, 2 metal pans to form our double boiler, 3 cups water, tinfoil, a bowl, and ice water to create an ice bath, a silicone spatula for mixing, and chocolate chips. The first step is to construct your double boiler by placing about an inch of water into your larger pan and then adding your smaller pan on top, leaving room to make sure that the water doesn't touch the pan. Next, you add your chocolate chips. Next, be sure to place a thermometer in your mixture in order to carefully monitor the temperature of your chocolate, as very specific temperatures are needed to achieve tempering. Now continuously mix your mixture in order to ensure nothing sticks to the side of the bowls. Also keep a close eye on your thermometer, as a strict temperature of 110 degrees is considered optimal for tempering for types 1, 2, and 3. Here we're trying to create type 3. So after we melt this down and get it to 110 degrees, we're going to add it to a 40-degree ice bath. After our chocolate has reached the desired 110 degrees Fahrenheit, we add it to a ice bath that is hovering just around 40 degrees. We have to make sure that the chocolate doesn't get wet, as this could affect its crystalline structure. We're trying to make Form 3 chocolate here, which is why it needs to be around 40 degrees. We're going to leave that to set for a couple minutes while we move on to our next form. We again heated our chocolate to a temperature of 110 degrees. This time we were trying to make Form 4, so we lay it out at room temperature to harden. Here we are spreading it in a relatively smooth layer to ensure it hardens equally. When this is done, it should have a slightly dull appearance and should have some snap, though not as much as our type 5. It should not melt when touched. To make type 5 chocolate, we heated up a chocolate mixture from leftover chocolate that had formed 3 crystals in it. We formed it up to about 93 degrees, making sure it didn't go over that, and laid it out. It is now time to unwrap our Form 3 crystals, which are ready to go from their ice bath. As you can see, they have a crumbly texture and have no snap when they break. Additionally, they melt at Olivia's touch, sticking to her hands. This is the Form 4 chocolate. As you can see, its surface has a dull appearance. It may look shiny when I turn it over. That's simply because it was in contact with the foil. However, you can see as I am snapping it that it really doesn't have as much of a snap as chocolate typically would. It does still make a slight snapping noise as it is type 4, but not so much as it would make if it were type 5. You can also see as I'm breaking it, it's not really sticking to my hands or melting. That's because type 4 doesn't melt at a hands touch. It will melt in the mouth, however. Here we have type 5 chocolate, and as you'll see in a second, it does have a distinctive snap. You'll notice like type 4, type 5 doesn't stick to Olivia's hands as she breaks it. This is because it doesn't melt at a hand's touch, but rather it does melt in the mouth. You have now reached the end of our demonstration. Thank you so much for sticking around, and thank you for watching our video.